Hi, Kat.
Hi, Tiffany.
How's it going?
All right, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm just in the middle of pretty crazy thunderstorms.
Yeah, we had flooding here in Texas last week, and tomorrow it's going to be 106. So,
Ugh. On a similar note, did you know that there is a type of planting system that can reduce surface temperatures by up to 29 degrees Fahrenheit? According to one study.
29 degrees Fahrenheit? No,
Mm-hmm.
I know the subject matter we're talking about tonight. I would have assumed it would have had some effect, but almost 30 degrees.
Yeah. Surface temperature, but still.
Well, yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, if my math is correct, and I'm pretty sure it is, because it was like 16 degrees Celsius
Yeah,
difference. So
that's huge.
I know. Yeah. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you read the title of this episode, you'll already know what we're talking about, but it is vertical gardens. I was originally planning to talk about like bug lights or something, but then I
Yeah,
realized that we already covered a lot of what,
we talked about bugs.
yeah, and a lot of what I was going to say you already covered. So instead, I'm taking a request from a listener named Sean.
Who I also happen to live with.
Yeah, who happens to be quite close to Cat. So he wanted to know about like green walls and vertical gardens and stuff. So here you are. You're welcome. So today we're talking about what vertical gardens and green walls are, along with the amazing potential that these additions have in urban spaces, and whether or not it may be worth building a vertical garden in your own home or your own community. Welcome to Greening Up My Act. Did it do it to you?
It did it a little bit. It just like slowed down and changed key, and I was like,
Yep. That's what happened
"What's?"
to me last time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
strange.
But it sounded normal on the actual recording, so.
Okay, good. So sorry, listeners. Oh well, you don't get to experience the behind the scenes fun that we do.
Yeah, it was like kind of eerie, a little
Yeah,
bit spooky.
it just kind of made me twitch a little because it was just a little slight. It just went da 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 da. It just like
Yes.
changed keys. It was like,
Yes. Slowed
huh?
down a little bit.
Yeah,
That's funny. I don't know why you didn't hear it that one time, but
yeah.
um
Well, I wanted to say I was
yeah.
thinking about Earth cooling. So I watched Project Hail Mary last night finally, like late bloomer
Yeah.
here. Love that movie. But they're talking about, the sun could dim and it could lower the temperature on Earth by 15 degrees. And I was like, that sounds great. But a difference of 15 degrees Celsius would be, like you said, almost, it'd be 25 or almost 30 degrees Fahrenheit, which would be pretty extreme. So I'm just
Right.
like, in Texas, I'm like, that sounds great.
Yeah. Wait, they were talking about Celsius, not Fahrenheit.
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
anytime a science movie talks about,
Yeah.
unless that's, NASA still uses the imperial metric, not the metric system, but I think for temperatures they probably use Celsius just because you don't want to. That's a mistake, quite a magnitude to
Yeah,
make
that would
there.
be bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I just watched that again. Not again, sorry. For the first time maybe a week or two ago. I'm also very late to these things, but I liked it. I thought it was
it was
good.
great.
Yeah.
To be fair, we watched the new Superman movie that came out last year before that, and it was such a stinker that it was like this movie was a balm,
Yeah.
just a balm of and it had playful science, which is like yay nerds, but it also
Mhm.
I took great issue with uh the linguistics of it because that's not usually how these things work. But anyway, it was a fun
What do you
movie.
mean? You mean you can't just like learn an alien language in like half a
Well,
day and then write it down and record and then
yeah, right. I know that seems weird.
so
Like it should just
funny.
be normal. It takes a long time for humans to
Yeah.
figure out each other's languages. So,
Right.
but maybe they had like a really great AI that. But luckily, Rocky's syntax is the same as English, so it worked, right?
Right. And then the fact that Rocky could understand him just fine. I was just like
Yeah, there was some, you know,
It was
willful
fine.
suspension of disbelief,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which I enjoyed it. It was
I did.
it was
Yeah,
good.
it was good. It was worth it.
Yeah, sorry, spoilers, everyone.
Right.
I knew there was an alien in it before I watched it, but Sean did not. So
Oh, okay. I didn't know
yeah,
anything about it. I never read the book.
me
Apparently
neither.
it's kind of slow,
Well, it's science.
but yeah. Is it Andy Weir? Is it the
Yeah,
same?
he did The
Oh, okay.
Martian. Yeah,
That's what I thought. Yeah, I've never had much interest in actually reading the books, although I know people love them, so.
yeah. We're a science fiction family in my house, so I think all my family read them. I'm very loath to read science fiction. A
Oh,
lot.
really? I usually like it, but it depends on.
It depends, and the quality of I think that's the issue is that I'm a literature snob.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the quality of writing in fantasy and science fiction, in a lot of ways, has gotten a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. Are you saying like Asimov? Well, Asimov was okay, but like
He was
a
fine.
lot of.
A lot of pulp. Like I couldn't
It's.
read a lot of fantasy books when I was growing up because I was just like, this is so
Uh
bad.
huh.
Like the world is cool, but the writing is so
Oh
bad.
yeah. Even
Um,
nobody kill me for saying this, but like Lord of the Rings. I'm not
it's
saying
hard.
it's bad. I'm just saying it is a slog to get
It is,
through.
and it's
That doesn't mean it's
like
bad. Don't
no,
kill me. I
it
loved
is a
it. I
slog,
was
and it's either
obsessed.
like too flowery
Yes.
or too dry. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like that's my problem with Asimov. Is a lot of the time I'm like, oh come on, you know, this is dry, and
Yeah.
but you know the ideas are good, and that
Yeah.
it's one of those things. It's like in my
It's also opinion. I mean, other
oh
people
it is, and it's a
completely
preference.
disagree with this. So it's fine.
Yes, and that you know. So anyway, so
Yeah. Anyway,
but that
welcome
is
to the
a good
show. We're not talking
yes.
about science fiction.
Well, except like I think that's a big thing that happens in science fiction a lot. You notice they have green walls or plants, you know,
Yeah.
because they create oxygen and all these
Mm-hmm.
things. And
It does get a little bit science fiction-y, but I
yes,
only briefly touch on that today, but it's
okay,
pretty crazy. Like you're gonna if you haven't heard of what I'm gonna talk about, basically vertical agriculture, you're gonna want to look up some pictures because it is weird.
yeah, a lot of it, yes, and some of it's like there's Whole Foods here, in Austin has a huge green wall,
Oh,
and
really?
every time we walk in, we're like, ooh,
Do they grow food or it's just
no,
plants? Okay.
it's just plants. It's pretty
That'd be
plants.
funny. That'd be pretty cool if they grew
I
food.
yeah, you wish they'd have to sell it at an extra premium.
Yes. Very hyper local grown.
Hyper local is it certified organic? Yeah, right. Under fluorescent lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. So, for anybody who hasn't, I keep looking out the window because there's crazy lightning going on. But for anybody who hasn't listened to us before, welcome. And who are we? Maybe we
Yeah.
can start summing it up in like a sentence.
Yeah, we are
Like we
two
go on a spiel.
normal girls
Normal.
who were tired with marketing backgrounds who were tired of getting sold a bill of goods about saving the world and wondering if there was any truth to those claims from the product manufacturers. And we're I think we've developed over time. We used to just be like, let's examine a product, and now we're kind of like, let's examine whole systems of the world and what is actually worth doing as an individual to
What
make
is
a
the
difference.
concept of sustainability?
Right, yes. I've gotten a lot more existential and
Yeah.
broad-reaching than simple brands, but we still do talk about brands. But yeah, but it, you know, this season we're talking about gardening, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Being outside. And
Yeah.
getting your hands dirty outside is
Yeah.
the theme of the season. So, season 10, which is crazy.
I know it's wild.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that.
Sure. It's off the cuff every week.
Every week, and it's always a little different.
One of these weeks we're gonna be like, we're huge science fiction enthusiasts who read literature and critique writing.
It's our science fiction podcast.
Yes. About movies.
Yeah, right.
All about Andy Weir, basically.
Yeah. Our favorite.
Mhm.
Yeah. Shoot, I was going to say something, then you made me chuckle. I'll think of it.
Sorry.
It's okay. All right, I'll just go through my sources. So, really briefly, these first couple, but I use this article by Medium. These are all linked, so I'm not going to go too far into them, but about like vertical farming, vertical agriculture, Reddit post on that same topic, crunchbase.com on vertical farming, and then I use this blog post from this company called Plenty on their Chapter 11 bankruptcy. We'll get there. Then the meat of this really is Nature-Based Solutions. That's a journal. Pretty cool title. They had this overview. What do they call it? Umbrella review or something. Basically a not peer review. What's it called? Why can't I think of it?
I am having the same brain fart. Yeah.
It's like the thing where you
literature review.
Thank you. That's what maybe that's like the science version of it. Anyway, and then a blog post about a study from Utrecht University.
Oh,
is that?
It's near Utrecht is sorry, like
Is
I know any Dutch. It's in the Netherlands near Amsterdam. Hop, skip, and a jump from Amsterdam.
Okay. And then this book, which is really interesting, Grow. I'm excited to talk about this book because I didn't even read it. I just got a sample of it, and I'm like, wow, she has some opinions. But it's a cool topic, and it's called Grow a Living Wall, Create Vertical Gardens with Purpose.
Nice.
And then I just looked at Lowe's for one product. The environment, I had a lot. The Environmental Working Group, I very quickly looked at one thing from them, what they thought about it. agardenpatch.com about how deep tomato roots grow, and then the spruce. So,
wow, okay. I think my next week has 3 sources.
Well, I tried, but here we are.
This is good. We have deep weeks and we have less deep weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what are we talking about today? We are talking about vertical gardening. I'm going to start off by explaining what we're not talking about because it's, to me, really interesting. And I took it a little bit of a deep dive because I was like, what is this world? We're not talking about vertical agriculture or vertical farming. So if you look up vertical gardening on anywhere on Reddit, on anywhere, whatever, everybody is going to bitch about venture capital. And they're going to be like, the venture capitalists ruined this fantastic idea. Which,
fair, happens.
Yeah. What hasn't that happened to?
Not the first time. Won't be the last. Yep.
No, exactly. But it is really interesting because it's this like huge startup companies with large robot warehouses. I swear that's the only way I can think to describe them. With super bright, probably LED lights and strawberries. The one I saw was strawberries hanging from these very tall vertical racks.
Okay. Yes, I can picture that it's like something out of a zombie apocalypse movie or Silo. Sorry, back to science fiction. Have you seen Silo?
I don't know if I have actually. Well, I was kind of thinking like Andy Weir. Like,
yes, it is.
It's
very
similar.
It's sci-fi. Yeah.
You should look up Plenty. Like just Google it. Plenty vertical vertical farming, and just look at the images. Yeah, it's so weird.
I had to mute so that you wouldn't hear me tap 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 tap.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Isn't it so
It's
strange?
A video when you go to the website. If you're not watching us on YouTube, you're not seeing my face like, huh? Yeah, okay.
It's worth a gander, so I recommend everybody goes and looks at it. So this is not what we're talking about today, but it is worth mentioning because it's so wild. And the fact that it is generally, as an industry, not going well. So...
Again, sci-fi. Like, it sounds good in the books, and then we do it in real life, and it's like, nope.
Yeah.
Divorcing humanity from farming does not work.
Yeah, like this Plenty company, They received $1.8 billion in venture capital funding so far. Investors have included Jeff Bezos.
Surprise.
Yeah. Andreessen Horowitz, which is a firm that's funding SpaceX and Facebook and basically every other software company that exists. Plenty just in 2025 got out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Jesus.
It ain't going well.
No, not a...
And of course,
Weird.
on their website or on their blog post I read about the bankruptcy, they're like, we are dedicated to a new future. We have made changes to blah, blah. And it's like, okay. Or
Your tech
business model
CEO
is
is
dumb.
still just making $1 billion and nobody's getting anything out of this.
Yeah, I don't know. But their business model is flawed, clearly, as happens with venture capital.
Yeah.
We are not talking about that, but we
Okay.
are talking about smaller scale. So less agriculture, more home design or urban planning.
Okay.
Urban planning doesn't have to necessarily be smaller scale, but it's more like community rather than a weird-ass warehouse farm.
Okay.
So does it make sense for you in your apartment or your home to build a garden up rather than out if you're limited on space? Or in your community via green walls? We're going to talk about both of those. So I'm going to take a break after this section.
Yeah, I was just like, we just talked about Andy Weir for 20 minutes. So
Yeah,
it's not quite
that's
break
why
time
I'm
yet.
going to wait because it's going to be maybe a little bit longer one. But okay, so what vertical gardens are? And these are the ones that you grow at like your house. They're usually plants on structures that are grown on fences, on gates, on walls, on balconies, on doors. If they're grown on walls, you can also call them green walls or living walls.
Okay. Yeah.
All of these terms are kind of interchangeable. At least, okay. Maybe not according to that lady who wrote that book, but we'll get there. There's usually some kind of structural support attached to said wall or fence, but it can also be a standalone structure that doesn't need like a wall to survive.
Yeah.
To stand up. These plants can be planted in soil or in water. Sean. And you can incorporate a built-in watering system. A lot of the ones that you buy, actually I will say a lot. Some of the ones you buy already have it. Like they already have a built-in watering system. So, according to this Grow a Living Wall book, oh, this is the funny part. A wall with greenery growing up it, like ivy or honeysuckle, that's planted into the dirt and growing up the wall, is not a living wall.
Okay. I was going to say. Correct.
Do you agree with that?
I would say, like in a technical definition, it's not. Like for me, a green wall, it has to be growing out of the wall or like using the wall as part of its growing structure. Because with a vine, it's just growing from the pot or the ground and then going up. Also, a green wall to me would probably have some form of life throughout the year, whereas like in the winter, like if the vine dies, the wall goes away, right? When my passion flower vine dies in the winter, the green wall up the back of my patio there is no longer a green wall, right?
I just feel like it's semantics because if you have a wall covered in ivy, God forbid, say you live in England and English ivy is fine to have there, it's going to do the same damn thing.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, especially. Yeah. But there's something about the intention behind it too, right? Like, I know. I mean, like, I did plant my passion flower to try and create a green barrier between us and the neighbor's kitchen window that we can see in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, maybe.
I just felt like it was like mostly because that study that I looked at, well, the overview of the studies that I looked at, the review, I think they use like ivy covered walls as an example.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I'm
was
just also
interesting.
thinking that like an ivy covered wall, one of the problems with an ivy covered wall is the ivy will destroy the brick underneath
Well,
it.
yeah, it's not ideal.
So
in
that was
any
what I was saying
sense.
about the intention. Like,
Yeah. Some people don't care. They're like,
I know,
I need this wall to be covered in ivy.
right?
I wonder if there's any kind of like creeping vine like that that doesn't
Doesn't.
destroy your wall. I don't know. Well, add a little trellis and then it will be
There you go. A green wall. Yeah,
a
I
living
I could
wall.
see. I think for our purposes that we could call it like a type of living wall, but maybe it's like living wall light, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
But even like a lot of the stuff that this lady recommends in her book, like a lot of the plants, they're not going to live all year. I don't know. I just feel like, why are we gatekeeping? And I
Right.
don't know. It just feels like kind of crazy. But
Because, yeah, maybe you have to define, well, except you said they already use it. I was like, if you're defining terms for a scientific paper, okay. I
right.
could see them saying, like, we excluded it. But you said in the studies, they're including these walls.
Yeah.
So it does seem kind of gatekeepy.
It just seems weird. But whatever. That's just my opinion. So that aside, this book does have outlines of how to create all kinds of garden, like all kinds of vertical gardens, which is it's pretty cool. So she has probably 20 different options, maybe more. Vegetable balcony garden is one of them. Culinary kitchen garden, hydroponic pollinator garden. She has one on like aphrodisiac garden, I think was one of them. Like they yeah, all whatever you would ever imagine. A fern wall, anything you can imagine. She says that you can plant 30 plus plants in 1 square foot if you really try.
You really cram them in there. But you gotta hope they all like each other.
Depends how tall it is, I guess.
That
But
too. Yeah.
um, she says there's no weeding involved. I highly doubt this because I weed even my containers sometimes, but
Well, yeah, but I'm wondering if because
probably
like
less.
weeds spread um horizontally more than
Yeah,
vertically.
I'm sure it's less,
yeah.
but I just feel like potting soil has weeds in it sometimes. But
It does, yeah. I'm sure the little yellow mushrooms that we see in ours would probably grow.
yes, yeah. And she says that there are fewer issues with bunnies or ground dwelling
Well, yeah,
pests,
I
which
can see that.
is
They can't climb walls.
totally true. And one cool thing is that you can tap into the warmth of your wall and extend your growing season potentially.
I am
That's cool.
thinking about the site of a museum that we walk by on the
Is it
dog
hot?
walk. It is very hot. In the winter, it's kind of nice because it stays warm, but it's a south-facing
Mm-hmm.
wall and it's concrete, or excuse me, cement, yeah, concrete, and it like soaks up heat, and
Yeah.
then it's warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. It's kind of cool. Like we have walls on our deck that get hot as shit, and I've been intending to put some sort of green wall up, but I never have. So maybe I will one day. But it's a cool idea. Um, and yeah, you can do that to reduce the heating costs of your home. And we'll expand on that a little bit later. We kind of touched on it in the intro. So now it's time to take a break.
Okay.
And then after, we are going to talk about what eco friendly claims surround vertical gardens.
Sounds good.
All right, now we are talking about what eco friendly claims people make around vertical gardens. And this is kind of lumping green walls and vertical gardens into one, but I feel like they kind of both have the same potential. So I don't know. There aren't really that many studies on green walls, so I don't know how many studies there would be on vertical gardens in people's homes. So
Yeah, that's kind
this
of a hard thing to
is,
study too.
yeah. But they claim that green walls can reduce two things and improve one thing. So they can reduce air pollution and surface temperature, which we already touched on. And they can improve biodiversity.
Okay.
So we are going to get into each of those. The first one, reduce air pollution. So living plants and trees clean the air by filtering it through their leaves and their soil. That is just a fact. And it's actually shown that in narrow streets in urban areas, green walls may be more effective than trees because of the improved air exchange in terms of like improving air pollution.
I could see that. And also, you you don't have as much room for a tree to get really deep roots in those situations, and that's what makes trees so good at it. Like we talked about that in the perennial vegetables episode, is that
Yes.
deeper roots do more filtration, but any roots at all is probably better than none.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which roots are a whole thing with vertical gardens that I will get into in a little bit.
I was going to say, like, there goes my wall.
Right. But more research is needed on this idea of them helping reduce air pollution. But I would think the greener the better in urban areas, especially, probably really in any area, but urban areas are the ones that really need it in terms of like air pollution. So, and the second one is that they reduce surface temperature. So buildings get hot in the sun and they absorb that heat from the sun. Putting plantings over that wall can reduce the temperature.
Yeah.
So, like I said, one study found, and there were like a couple different studies that had a couple different results, but they were all really impressive.
Compelling. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that one study that I talked about had a wall surface temperature reduction, and I think this was an average, a mean wall surface temperature reduction of up to, no wait, was it up to? Anyway, around 29 degrees, which is crazy. That's like a difference of, if you walk by something that's 90 degrees versus, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge. So this study or this review says, to cool urban space, a larger scale implementation of green walls over several facades constituting a public space could potentially lead to significant effects. And I totally buy it.
I do too. Well, and you just think about even just walking the dogs here in Texas at night. The streets are still hot at 10 p.m., but
you can like feel it radiating.
it's a 20-degree difference when you get into the grass at the park, you know?
Yeah.
And that makes perfect sense. That concrete and asphalt just absorb heat, and, you know, if you have plants, it's going to cool it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Green walls are significantly less helpful at reducing stormwater runoff because,
well, yes.
Go figure, right?
They're not actually stopping any stormwater on that. Yeah, because runoff is actually on the ground. It ends up. I mean, I could see it. Yeah.
Yeah, the study said like it was a difference of 4% versus like 50% or something like that. So
yeah,
that's not what they're for.
It's not going to reduce soil runoff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or soil erosion. Yeah.
Right.
They're for urban centers. Yeah, you're not going to have a green wall on a barn in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Or just a green wall in the middle of nowhere. Like.
Right. Yeah. In a forest. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Let the prairie in Iowa do its job, right?
Yep. Yeah. So the third claim is that a green wall can help to improve biodiversity. So the Utrecht University study found that the green wall that they were looking at, and I think it was tropical. I think it was in the Philippines or Indonesia. I can't remember. But they studied this one green wall, and it hosted over 100 animal species, like insects, spiders, birds, which was way more than the non-vegetated wall.
Okay, yeah, I can also see that.
Right? I mean, all of this is kind of obvious.
It's like, duh, but...
Yeah. But was not quite as good as a normal cliffside.
Which also makes sense.
Yeah. And they were saying, like, oh, well, we could use cliffs as inspiration, kind of, and, like, take ideas from cliffs and implement them into design. But the helpful effects of this also depend on what kind of plants you use. Because planting nothing that local species rely on is way less helpful.
Which we've talked about also, yes.
Yes, go back to our previous episodes this season.
If you're not going to help the pollinators, it's just a pretty piece of green.
Yeah, you'll do the temperature work, but you're not going to do anything for biodiversity.
Right. Why not kill two birds with one stone? Or save two birds with one stone?
There you go.
Save two birds with one wall. There you go.
There you go. And they found that it also works best when it's planted near other trees and vegetation because the bugs and the bees can hop from one to the next.
This is all very common sense to me.
I know.
It tickles a dopamine center in my brain where it's
I
like,
know.
yes, this
Yeah, it's like this
makes
feels
sense.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. So now I wanted to get into this is where it kind of got fun for me. So, like, is this something a normal person could do or afford? A vertical gardening green wall situation. There are so many kits out there.
Okay. I want to say that when I was looking into it, because I was like, oh, maybe I'll buy Sean a green wall for it was
Uh
like
huh.
$10,000
Oh,
for like,
wowza.
yeah, maybe or
Where were you looking?
I don't know. And this was a
Hopefully, it
while
was a
ago.
good one.
Yeah, it would have been a big one, and it probably had its own self-watering. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't think there were many options available when I was looking.
Oh, okay. Could have been. Yeah, I think it's probably gotten more popular because now there are options. The one that I found is like $100.
Oh,
It doesn't self water, but the ones that are self watering are like 300 or 400.
jeez. Where was I looking? I don't know. Maybe I just like,
These aren't good ones. I'm not
okay.
saying I
Well,
would
maybe that
recommend
was it. It
them.
was like professional installation,
Yeah, I'm sure.
and it's probably I just did a preliminary research, and it was probably for commercial buildings or something.
Oh, maybe actually that would
Yeah,
be more expensive.
yeah, because that would
Um,
include maintenance probably and
yeah, that would be funny if you had a commercial
a
green
commercial
wall.
installed
That'd
in
be
Sean's
sweet,
apartment. Yeah,
right?
man, yeah,
On his balcony.
yeah.
So I found one from this random ass brand called Garvey with two E's. It's a vertical garden kit. There are no reviews. I have no idea how good it is. Do not run out and buy this. I'm not saying you should do that, but I just needed an example. It has a planter bed, like an actual planter bed on the bottom, and then trellises up
Okay,
that run up. So that's one way to do it. Most of them that you see are these little tiny pots in a stack, basically.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
stacks of little tiny pots.
Well, yeah. We're supposed to talk about this next week about my attempt at making a succulent wall in a pallet.
Oh.
I found a DIY thing
You can
about
talk
it.
about it now, unless
Okay.
you don't have enough next week.
I think we have plenty for next week, but I got a pallet. I stapled like weed barrier around it to keep the soil in, right?
Yeah.
And then I went to fill it with soil, and I don't know if I did something wrong, but like it didn't occur to me that when I stood it up, it was going to be super heavy, first of all, because when it's full of soil, and also when I stood it up, obviously the soil's going to come out the front. And I thought, when I put the plants in there, but it was just too heavy. I couldn't get enough soil in it. And probably the best thing to do is, just kind of, yeah, have each of the plants in their own pots and just kind of stick it
Mm.
in sorry, as I hit stick it in the pallet in their pots rather than
Mm-hmm.
trying to take them out and plant them. You know,
Succulents are tricky, yeah.
yeah, I just thought it would be easy. Every time I'm like, "Ugh, I can't keep a succulent alive for my life. I cannot.
No, me neither. We've said this before.
Yes. Spider
No, I
plants
have
and
one.
pothos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a single one in my bathroom and it's dying, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I do.
I don't either. Definite black thumb with those.
Yeah. Also orchids. No, can't do an orchid.
Oh, yeah, mine died very
Mm-mm.
quickly.
Mhm.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, well, I actually did one DIY out of a pallet also years ago, and mine went surprisingly well, but I did burlap, so I think same idea. Like inside the little,
Yeah.
in between the pallet rails, I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
I made a little pocket out of burlap, and then
See, that's where I went wrong. I should have made pockets rather than just one big.
oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's-
did little pockets inside each of them. It took forever.
Yeah.
And then planted some basil, and I think I even had a tomato growing, but I was surprised that most of it survived. Some of it died. I think the basil died because it wasn't getting enough sun, but I think it would have been fine otherwise. Anyway, that's an option. It's funny we both done pallet. Tried
Yeah.
pallet.
It's a variety of success stories, but yeah.
Yeah, mine was pretty ugly, but that's okay. So this one is made of polypropylene, which is plastic, but that's considered generally non-toxic, even by the Environmental Working Group, which was the EWG article I looked at, which I was surprised. I was like, oh, interesting. Still plastic. And like, would you want to grow your food in plastic containers? It's up to you. You know, it's up to you. Not a bad price though, because it's $106 before the sale, and it was on sale for like $90. But then you have to add in like soil costs, plant and seed costs, that kind of thing. So out of all of these, all the ones I could find, all of these vertical garden kits, two things I don't love: the plastics of it all, because most of them that are homeowner friendly and aren't like DIY, like out of a pallet, are made of plastic, like almost every single one.
Yeah.
And you have to think about microplastic shedding because they're outside.
Yeah.
They're outside over winter, probably.
Yeah, and like how long is it going to last too? Right?
I mean, this stuff is probably pretty sturdy, but yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it's going to get sun-beaten and weather-beaten. It's going to freeze.
Yeah. I don't know. And my biggest gripe is that the growing area is so flippin' small. So, like I said, on most of them, you have these tiny little pockets that you can barely squeeze a basil plant into, which requires so much watering because they'll instantly dry out. It's like when you first buy a little plant in one of those little plastic.
Yeah, well, and it also, gravity forces the water down, so it's going to drain out. Yeah.
Right. There's nowhere for it to go except for to the ground.
Yeah.
Or, I guess, to what's below it, which is fine. But yeah, they're going to dry out very quickly. There's no room for roots to grow.
Yeah.
For the most part. This one that I found, yes, but so like if you're going to grow food, for example, some types of tomato roots can grow 3 feet down.
Yeah.
That's not going to work here.
No.
Like you cannot do that in this type of vertical garden. But I found that there are they're called determinate tomato varieties, and they have shallower root systems.
Okay.
I think I linked the article. I'm not sure. I think I did. But Roma tomatoes are one of them.
Okay.
There's one called patio plum. So there's all sorts of different varieties, but you have to be careful which variety you pick, because if you get the wrong one, it's going to be very unhappy. I mean,
well, yes.
I say careful in a sense you're not going to die, but
right. Well, you might kill the plant. Well, and also I'm thinking about like if these are for presentation and beauty, like the roots are also going to go down, and it's probably going to deform your wall. You know, just in terms of what the green wall looks like. Like the plants are going to move. If they're all, you know, like you have to be pretty diligent about that. You know, tomatoes last the summer, but if you're doing like a decorative green wall, you're going to have to take that into consideration too, which is why I thought I would do air plants or succulents, because they don't really have deep root systems and they can, you know, stay put.
Yeah. Air plants are another one that I can't grow, which is amazing.
No. I know, right? What is our brown thumb with plants that like neglect?
I don't know.
We're
it's
overbearing.
So weird because I plant sat for a former coworker who used to travel a lot with her air plants, and I killed every single one. And I'm like, dude, I literally don't know how.
Yeah.
These are supposed to require air, and that's it. So and a little bit of water.
A misting from time to time.
Yeah. Don't know. I don't know. It's so funny. But then, like, this woman is saying, you know, you can grow like a pollinator garden in a vertical garden, whatever.
Well, okay. Sorry. I'm thinking when I was trying to do it, I was trying to have the plants face, like if the pallet's against the wall, the plants are outward. So like the top of the plant is actually sideways. But you could probably do it in kind of cups, you know, so that they're actually growing up instead of out, right?
Yeah. So, I think that's what most of them look like.
Yeah, probably. I was just thinking that like the plant wall I'm thinking of at Whole Foods has all the plants growing, so their tops are facing you rather than facing
I
up.
have seen those. Yeah, that's
they're pretty, but that was what I was going for, and that was my downfall.
Okay, I get it now. I wonder how they keep those watered.
Oh, I'm sure there's a whole system behind it that probably costs more than all the vegetables in the whole store.
Probably,
but
#worth it. But the other problem is like most perennial pollinator friendly plants, as we mentioned, we talked about container gardening, would never survive in these tiny ass containers.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that there are things, even zinnias. Like I don't know what plant, like what flower that a bee loves or a butterfly loves. You could grow in these things that are like this big.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that's what I was thinking. It was one of the DIY things I'm going to talk about next week. Um, was basically like they took those clothing racks that you can buy for like your studio apartment if
Yeah.
you don't have a closet and it just kind of stands in the corner, but it rolls around,
Mm-hmm.
or you could use it in like a shop or something. And they basically like strung wires kind of across it, or like took an old bookshelf and
Okay.
hung hanging pots
Uh
basically
huh.
at different intervals to kind of make a hanging wall
Yeah.
that has bigger pots. So it's not those little dinky ones.
Mm-hmm.
They're 18-inch ones, and you hang them, from
Yeah, that could be
hooks
cool.
rather than you're trying to do these tiny little,
Right.
air
That's
plant
still,
sized. Hmm.
yeah, totally. That's still probably going to be annuals.
Yeah, you
Maybe not.
could do perennials. Again, they do some perennials might, but again, perennials
Yeah.
like to kind of branch out and
I was thinking like maybe ground covers of some
yeah,
sort, like wild geraniums,
yeah,
maybe. I don't know. I'm sure there's something.
yeah.
Leave leave us a little note somewhere in
Well,
our
yeah, and again,
comments.
I think this might be something that's better for tropical environments where, orchids
Yeah.
grow against trees. They make great wall plants,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
in a tropical environment where it's not going to get below 60 degrees
Yes.
and the
Yeah.
humidity is always at 80%. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think you're right about that for sure. So DIY is possibly a better option. Like we said, we both tried DIY. But
don't talk
depending
to
on,
me about it. I have a brown thumb for DIY too. So,
well, yeah, it's also more work and more planning. But
mm,
depending on what you want to grow, could be better. I actually think the one I found is not a bad option because it's like a 5 foot long planter, and you can grow some stuff in that. I didn't have time to look into green wall costs. I only looked at like green or vertical garden costs, but a few considerations. Maybe you you would know more after your quote from the $10,000. But like your structure, your manpower, your watering system, your maintenance, you're gonna have to think about all of those things. I think they aren't very cheap.
yeah.
Which hey,
Well, okay, but you're going
the
to talk about
benefits.
community too. I mean, in
Mm-hmm.
your community, this might be something worth talking about in an urban community is
Yeah.
figuring out, getting getting a professionally installed green wall might be worth
Mm-hmm.
it. Lobbying your city councils like the street doesn't have enough room for trees, but could we try a green wall? Because I know,
Yeah.
I mean, even green rooftops are getting huge in urban places that care
Yes.
about the environment for cooling and things.
Uh huh.
And I would think green
I'm
walls
not
would be
saying
good
the
for that
cost.
too.
I'm not saying it should be cost prohibitive. I'm just saying it may be kind of expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's worth it, but
Again, anytime you can grow something in any space you have, give it a whirl,
right.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking. I don't know. I think it would be really cool to do like some sort of pioneer. If your community doesn't have any green walls, do like a pioneer. Do you hear
Grant.
that thunder?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's thunder.
Wow.
That's a crazy. But yeah, you could be like implement the first one and call some reporters and I don't know, just like kind of make it a thing. And then I don't know, it's a cool idea. It's a really cool idea. Some space that's I can think of so many spaces that are so freaking hot to hang out in and miserable and just make it better and then
Yeah. Why not?
see what happens.
Yeah.
So, does the eco-friendly messaging need to come back to earth? In terms of that book, yes, because this lady is a little cray-cray about her vertical walls. Because in the same sentence, she's talking about how you can help pollinators, but then she also says, but if tropical plants don't grow near you, the heat of your wall may make it possible to grow them in your area. And it's like, weren't you just talking about pollinators? I'm so confused.
It's not plant tropical plants in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and hope for the best, right? That's
Right. I mean, you can if they're in
an
a
atrium.
container
Yeah.
or an atrium. But you're not going to, like, why? What's the point? Okay, they're pretty, whatever. But go on vacation. Go look at
I know,
pictures.
right? Go. Right.
However, it could be a really great way to grow certain plants, probably not all plants, but certain plants in a very small space. So, in terms of green walls in urban areas or in terms of surface temperature reduction, there's huge potential. That's very exciting. And it shouldn't replace tree planting, but it could be a really good companion to it.
I like it.
Yeah. In summary. So I did do a granola rating for this.
Okay.
For most of our episodes, we do granola ratings, which is basically how crunchy is it?
Crunchy better.
Yeah, crunchy's good. It goes from 1 to 5, soggy, mushy, chewy, crunchy, break your tooth off. I put this smack dab in the middle at chewy because it's all over the place.
Right. There's no one direction that makes it. And yeah, and there's so many, like, again, consumer options getting in the way, right? Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So it's like, in certain instances, it's so awesome. And in other instances, it's like, well, kind of depends what you're using it for.
Yeah. I was, a friend of mine in New Jersey was saying she got one of those kind of hydroponic vertical gardens that does like herbs and stuff and tomatoes and things. And she said it did great in her kitchen.
Yeah.
So it is a possibility. Like,
yeah, I think those are really excellent for getting people into gardening.
Yeah.
I love those things because I think a lot of people who don't know anything about gardening would start with that.
Yeah, they're kits. They have kits.
Yeah.
That you plant this little pot in here and turn the water on and then add food every couple weeks or whatever. And it circulates the water and does all the stuff. And, like, that's easy.
Yeah. And it's cool because I feel like growing something for maybe the first time
it's
is
so
sort
exciting.
Of like, yeah, it's sort of like making bread for the first time. You're like, I did that?
And it's so easy. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Because it seems like not easy, but it is. Yeah. So yeah, I think those can be good. I mean, I am curious about hydroponics, but I didn't have time to go into it. I don't know. Maybe next season.
Yeah.
But
cool.
That's all I had. Next week, you are talking about
upcycled patio options.
Yeah, like how to make your outdoor space more enjoyable that you actually use it.
Yeah, without breaking the bank.
Yeah. Or buying a bunch of shit you don't need.
Right. Yeah, going to Wayfair and spending $10,000.
Yes, exactly. Okay, sweet. So we are in the process of creating our next season. So if you have requests, we already have a couple. I have one about plastics and baby supplies from one of my friends. But that doesn't go with hydroponic, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, we could just kind of do,
we could do a whole smorgasbord.
Yeah, I'll let Sean talk to me tonight and see what he wants to learn about.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever ideas, you can send them to us via email.
We're at greeningupmyact@gmail.com. Or we're on Instagram.
Is it just at greeningupmyact? It is.
Yeah.
Just send us a direct message and let us know what you want to hear about next season. So that's all I have.
Yeah. Perfect.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see you next week.